Ladies and gentlemen, I am recording this video a little bit ahead of time, so the price action is most likely going to change because of volatility within the market. But regardless, I do want to talk a lot about, what's happening around Hedera right now, because there's a little bit of drama, there's a little bit of, concern out there, but there's also a lot of good. And I feel as though a lot of you have been exaggerating my previous videos around HBAR, where I do talk about some concerning things, because listen, as a big investor, we always have to look at both sides. We can't just be tunnel vision here and think that everything is incredible and everything is, all sunshine and blue skies. We also have to be realistic here. So with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So obviously, listen, as we look at price action, I'm not really focused on price action. I'm not going to be excited when it comes to HBAR until we are over those like 20-cent levels from, roughly like April of this year, like right around here. I'm not going to be excited. I'm not going to be excited on price action. So we have a lot of room to go when it comes to HBAR. But regardless, I do think that we're getting closer and closer to altcoins finally waking up. And it feels as though, this has been going on forever. I mean, it feels like we have been sitting here just waiting for the price charts to wake up. But guess what? This is exactly how every single, alt season, every single bull run really is. I mean, look at this. This goes all the way back to September of 2019, all the way up to about roughly like January of 2021. I mean, this is exactly how long things take. I'm sorry to break it to you guys that are, new to these cycles. Yeah, this is exactly how long things take. And if we go and look at the HBAR chart right now, the bottom was back in 2022, roughly, December of 2022. It's coming up on 2 years. 2 years. So we are very, very close, in my opinion, to the big moves being made here when it comes to HBAR and a lot of altcoins. But we do have to talk about some concerning things. We have to talk about, the overall price chart. So I have been outlining in the Discord, yes, even in the free Discord, a lot of these price movements in this market. Right now, I'm watching for HBAR to break well over, like 6 cents before we get a little bit excited about price action movements. I'm still looking for that potential wick down to 4 cents, taking out the liquidity. If we do, big buy opportunity, in my opinion, long term. But outside of this, I have been noticing there's been a lot of negativity around the Hedera community, and a lot of it is focused on transactions. More recently, there has been a little bit of concern around APMA, which we will talk about. But before we really talk about that, I want to address what's happening around the community, because the community side of things, it's looking very good. It's looking very good. Instead of relying on enterprises and Fortune 500s to pump our bags, I just want you guys to understand that being around the Hedera ecosystem, being an HBAR holder, allows you, that's right, you watching, to support the ecosystem, support the community that is actually building. We don't need these Fortune 500s and enterprises. We don't need to support them. They have money. They have resources. Obviously, yes, we support them coming to the network. They're big players, but we should support the small guys too. And I love the community around Hedera, because there is some great builders out there. Like, for an example, the players from Diffus Labs. We are about to revolutionize the way DeFi is done on Hedera. The order book DEX will be a game changer for the HTS ecosystem. And when we actually look at this, right? So anyone can check this out. This is what Diffus Labs looks like. This is a launch pad. Now, again, right now it is in testnet, but I'm actually very excited about this. Again, these are some newer projects coming to the ecosystem. I'm actually very excited about this. Again, community tooling, big game changer, but definitely go check them out. Diffus Labs on X if you haven't already. I'm actually very excited about this launch. When they do officially go live on the mainnet, it's going to be a game changer, in my opinion. Now, also outside of Diffus Labs, Bonso Finance recently launched. This is all a part of that DeFi 2.0 narrative, right? DeFi 2.0 on Hedera is officially here with the launch of Bonso Finance. Supply assets, earn rewards, and become part of the liquidity layer of Hedera. Yeah, I'm actually very, very excited about Bonso Finance. I've actually been following Bonso Finance for a little bit of time now. And as we really look at the application, I mean, this thing looks very clean, very crisp. Love the UI, very easy to, go about the application. It's nothing too crazy. And you could also check out the points section. Now, right now, I currently don't have my wallet attached to this, but you could check out, the Bonso points, which again, it's a leaderboard. This is very self-explanatory. This is how it works. It breaks everything down for you. And also you have staking on here, which is coming soon. But overall, I think that the dashboard, everything around this looks very clean. It reminds me of SushiSwap when it first launched, and we already know how big that was. Now, Hedera also already put a spotlight on Bonso Finance on November 1st, saying that the launch of Bonso Finance marks a pivotal point in Hedera DeFi, enabling both retail and institutional users to take advantage of advanced decentralized borrowing and lending capabilities bolstered by network features unique in Web3. Now, like I said, so far, Bonso Finance has been killing it. And I do think that it is because of the UI, how clean it is, how easy it is to really kind of go about it. And if we actually look over here on Defi Llama, we could see that TVL around Bonso Finance, guys, already almost $3 million. I know that it did hit about $3 million already. Right now, it is a little bit under it, but on November 3rd, it did hit over 3 million. Now, one thing that I will say here is when we look at lending and borrowing around DeFi, okay, let's go to the overview. More specifically, let's look at the categories of TVL. Liquid staking is number 1, but lending and borrowing is number 2 with $32.4 billion tied to it. Bonso Finance is a part of that. I do believe that Bonso Finance is going to quickly grow significantly in TVL. And already, Hedera has some big players under its belt when it comes to DeFi. SushiSwap is massive. Stater is Stater. We already know about it. But Bonso Finance, I do think that is going to be a game changer combined with what we are now starting to see around the community as well. There's a lot of great DeFi players in the DeFi 2.0 move that I do think are going to provide a lot of volume, a lot of value, and even bring on a lot of users to the Hedera community. I'm very excited about this. Now, also, as we do really look at Hedera, I have been, focused on HBAR for a while simply because of the, TVL and things like that around Hedera. You guys already know me. I've been more so focused on like the core developers and even the commits, and these are still surging. I mean, the commits not so much, but core developers back in October, well over 115, which means there is a lot of building happening. Again, we can't just take the transactions and we can't just take, these big enterprise projects as like the end all be all for Hedera's success. No, there's still community devs out there building. And I do think that Bonso Finance, I think that Diffus Labs are, a big, I think that this is proof of that. But also outside of these two, I did put out a post regarding the community. Let me refresh it real quick because there's a lot of other names that a lot of people dropped below it. I said every HBAR holder should be keeping an eye on and supporting community-led projects like the following. Now, I didn't tag every single community-led project, obviously, and I said if I am forgetting a few, mention them below because I obviously know that I was. But we have Galaxy, Bonso, Diffus Labs, Serial Finance, which by the way, Serial Finance is also a new DeFi player, H Liquidity, Kabila is great, full, tooling for pretty much everything that you could think about when it comes to NFTs for Hedera. Also, they have a few other things happening on Kabila as well. SushiSwap, don't even need to explain it to you guys. Dead Pixels Club, again, don't need to explain it. And Karate Combat, also don't need to explain it. These are like the 3 main players around the ecosystem, but there's a lot of other great players too. For an example, like Hangry Barboons. Now, again, these are like NFT projects that have been very, significant for the community and for the ecosystem. They're blue chips essentially. Hashpack obviously is great. There's a lot of other ones as well that, again, I just didn't mention. It's not like a big, it's not like I was forgetting these. It's that I want you guys to also, drop a few as well down below. And, even if there is one that you don't see in this video, drop them down in the comments because I'd love to see pretty much every single community-led project on Hedera gets some support and recognition because they do deserve it. And ultimately, they do affect the network in a very positive way outside of the enterprises and the big players that are getting so many grants that just up and disappear. Now, talking about that, I do want to put a spotlight on that. And one of the big players that have been putting a spotlight on that is Brady BM Gentile. Also, one of the big players behind Bonso Finance. He's actually one of the creators of it. And if we look at this right, we have as a governing council member at Hedera and the reputational accountability that comes with this role, vision of the GC, I believe it's critical that Avery Dennison makes a statement about their use or discontinued use of Hedera for Atma.io. The silence is deafening. Even if they are no longer using Hedera, it's still a great narrative to express that therein production usage showcase the power and scalability of Hedera's infrastructure, code base, and unique differentiation of the space. Now, listen, I completely agree with Brady here. As we really kind of look at what's happening here, the transactions on Hedera have basically been halted to practically nothing. I mean, yes, we do see, some TPS hitting around like 10 plus. Right now, we're at 15 transactions per second. Not too bad at all compared to the industry standard, but it's nothing compared to where we were, back in, last month or even the month beforehand. I would personally like to see a lot more transactions pushed on the network from community-led projects or, even just grants given to some of these community-led projects as well, because I do think that the network needs that. I don't think that we should sit here waiting for some enterprise player to save us. I mean, what difference does that make if we're trying to move away from the Web 2 scene? Web 3 should empower the community. It should empower builders that want to build, decentralized, legitimate use cases for the Web 3 world. And I don't understand why they get zero support or recognition from Hedera. I mean, sure, yes, Bonso Finance is getting some recognition, but we have given out so many grants to these players like, Atma.io just for everything to come to a halt. Now, this has been a big concern for everyone, and we actually have over here, well, Atma is not on the ecosystem, removed or never there. I'm not sure. Brady did say removed, and the case study we created at Hedera for Atma.io has disappeared as well. The original link was, and this was the link. It's really disappointing that they'd deprecate it from the website and not communicate whatsoever about what's happening. And I'm here with Brady here. Like, listen, we should have some sort of transparency when it comes to this. I mean, Hedera has always prided themselves as like one of the biggest transparent players in this space, yet we're kind of in the dark on this. Now, again, we have down here that while I love the optimism and energy, I think it's important to stay grounded in reality. We do not know what the next chapter is or if that was it. We actually have here from Paul HBAR saying, you're correct. We don't know either way. That's why we should wait and see. It seems a lot of folks assume the worst, which isn't good for the community, and the enterprises are seeing these posts and comments. Does any of it help? Now, listen, I agree with both sides. I don't think that we should assume that Atma is done with Hedera. I think everyone is jumping to that conclusion that Atma is finished with Hedera, that they're moving on, and that the transactions are probably going to stay under 100 TPS for a while. Because even if we go over here, I mean, you can see the transactions. This is in the last year, all right? Major transactions being pushed almost every single month. And if you look at October, it almost looks like October was never reported on. That's because October had 18 million transactions versus the previous, 4 billion plus, almost 5 billion plus. I mean, there was a almost 5 billion transaction month in December of 2023. So when we look at October and even November, you can't even recognize them there because of how significant every single other month was. Now, this is because of Atma. So now that Atma is not transacting, the network is basically dead. And this should be a concern for everyone, regardless of if Atma's leaving the network or not. It shows that we need a lot more live use cases on the network. And although, yes, we do have live use cases, they're not pushing the amount of transactions that Hedera really needs to generate a ton of revenue so that the network doesn't have to rely on selling HBAR, for an example, for revenue. I think everyone should be looking at that in a way of, all right, yeah, we definitely need to create some revenue for the network because we can't just rely on, selling HBAR for revenue. Yes, there's still revenue generation opportunities, but for the most part, the HBAR selling was the main driver of revenue for, the team, for the budget, things like that. I think eventually, and when I say eventually, I don't think that we have to wait too long on this. I do think that other enterprise grade applications are going to go live. I also think that a lot of these community-led projects are going to make a big difference. Regardless of if you want to believe that or not, it's okay. You don't have to. A lot of these are great projects, and I do think that they should all be supported, especially if you do hold HBAR, because supporting these community-led projects allow them to grow significantly, allows more opportunities to also become a reality for a lot of these projects as well, and it's just good for the overall ecosystem. But I do think that everyone should have their concerns. I think that concerns are healthy. I feel as though everyone is just sitting here saying, well, Nick, you're not talking about how great HBAR is. You're talking about these things that are concerning. Listen, if these things scare you, then I don't think that you're mature enough for investing. Investing is making sure that you're looking at both sides of the picture, making sure that you have everything, under your watch. Because if you're not, you're going to be completely surprised or shocked by specific things that are not working in your favor. And for us as HBAR holders, we do look at the transactions of the network, which technically show us the use of the network and the adoption of the network. And we're looking at this and saying, why is there only 1 TPS right now on the network? Or why is a max of 15 TPS on the network that's been around for, so many years with all of these big projects that have been, shilled to us for years? I do think that we should be concerned about it. And I do think that it's a healthy conversation as well. But overall, am I bearish on HBAR? Do I hate HBAR? Am I anti-HBAR? Which I saw a lot of comments about. No. I love the ecosystem. I love a lot of these community-led projects. I think that there's a lot of innovative and ultimately disruptive projects on Hedera as well. And I do think that the Hedera technology is very significant. I just think that there is a few things that definitely need to be looked at and ultimately fixed or improved on. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.